there's something I noticed that was somewhat ironic, although I can empathize with those who are feeling this way, and that is to say the officers in the Professional Standards Bureau that were involved in the case apparently, the entire group of officers in that bureau are taken aback by the response of the public and the criticisms over the Brent Thomas affair. And it has caused the officers involved, I believe they've had to go to counseling, and it has caused the entire Professional Standards Bureau to have a drop in morale. And I think the Welfare Association president, he pointed out the fact that, look, the politicians in Barbados kind of blunted the blow and with regards to the conduct of their officers, speaking about their officers' conduct. But he is complaining that our local TTPS officers are being used like a political football. And I will agree up to the point where it does seem as though the government is trying its best. They're not outright saying, literally, we were not involved, we had no idea. But they're saying enough to imply, well, look, the police went and did their own thing. You know, as unlikely as it seems that they're going to do a foreign operation as a police service that doesn't have the authority to do so, without the say-so from a higher-ups, which is something that we said more than once on about this topic. And what do you think about that?
There's a statement that you often use. The irony, or the ironic thing is, that the name of this branch is Professional Standards Bureau, right? Listen, police officers are human beings as well. Let us not forget that. Mm-hmm. But what nonsense is this?
I mean, again,
Listen, you have to understand.
I just feel as though politically they are being, to some extent, being thrown under the bus. I wouldn't say that it's all their fault.
You see,
I do have a but you go ahead.
I would agree that they are being thrown under the bus. It seems that way. Police officers are feeling very traumatized by public pressures and are now seeking counseling. I mean, when police officers, by the way, are rather erratic in their behavior towards citizens, you don't see the Police Service and Welfare Association coming and offering counseling to those citizens. But let me just put that aside for a moment.
Death of PC kills.
Remember, just remember they are human beings as well.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying this is nonsense is because they're not, I don't think they're feeling traumatized by the public backlash, you know. I think it's guilt. I think it's guilt because, according to a judgment, an illegal act was committed. Now, it is before the courts in terms of an appeal, but the judgment said that it was unlawful. So the police officers are feeling guilty, and possibly, if they were to actually come out and tell us the truth and reveal precisely what happened, we all know they can't for the sake of probably their job and, by extension, life, then maybe their conscience would ease a little bit and they wouldn't have to seek this counseling. But I would agree, yes, okay, maybe they're being used as political footballs. But even if you as an officer, you would have had to have an understanding, this is wrong. I cannot do that. Protest against it. Do not allow this to happen. Because you see, police officers cannot be so ignorant to think that these things will be hidden from the public and that they would be immune. What? The politicians have now laid the majority of the blame on the actions of the Trans-Tobago Police Service. And quite honestly, I think anybody would feel traumatized because of guilt.
Here's the thing, though. I actually do think, oh gosh, you just said something that they assumed they would get away with it. No. I think they actually might have thought that they were doing the right thing, which of course makes the Professional Standards Bureau name of the unit even more ironic. Right, exactly. Because, and I could see it where, because maybe they got approval. I mean, at least twice on this show, that is to say 2 separate dates, we've questioned how is it that police officers are going to just go to Barbados to execute a warrant without some sort of authorization, right? So assuming that there was official approval, you have approval, you're not studying, is this right or wrong? You don't know better. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of situations with regards to the TTPS where not every police officer is that well versed on either the law or regulations and proper operating procedures.
Here's something interesting of which I learned last week in conversation with an individual whom is very versed with the law. That individual last week told me that a police officer, when they are leaving Trinidad, even to go to Tobago, they're a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. But as a police officer, even if you're leaving Trinidad to go to Tobago, whether it be for vacation, you have to have it in writing and it's sent to your seniors for approval. So that's on record. They essentially have to approve of it. So even if it's for vacation, so going to Barbados, it is clear to me that these police officers would have had to have the permission as well as the go-ahead to go. But in terms of even landing the plane, taking the individual, using this RSS, that approval will come from the Minister of National Security. So the mere fact that these individuals could tell us that they're not aware of the situation or they were not involved in it, and the Minister of National Security received an oral report, up to now I can't understand how that has any standing or footing. The point is, these officers have a guilty conscience, and honestly, if they're feeling traumatized, I think it's by their own hand. I honestly do. I feel sorry for them to the extent that there's public backlash, but it's public backlash because of their ignorance. They should not have done it. If they didn't carry out those instructions, it should have been raised. They should have gone to the Trinidad Police Service Social Welfare. Why isn't Gideon Dixon speaking about that? Why isn't he going after that? Why isn't he saying that this is wrong and my officers were directed to do this?
He is falling back on the age-old excuse of, well, I can't speak about it because it's currently in front of the courts and it's an active investigation. And all right, fine. Here's the thing, though, right? They're traumatized by their own hand. I think to some extent, you just might be right because this should be a lesson. And I'm actually surprised this has not come up more often. But at the end of the day, you cannot assume that instructions you have and approval you have makes everything 100% legit, legal, above board, etc., etc., etc. You have to cover yourself. You have to know how to do your job. Just because an elected official is giving you instructions, that doesn't mean that they know how you are supposed to do your job.
Elected or appointed, we're not so sure.
Right, okay. So my point is, especially in public service, but even in private business, once you reach a certain level of responsibility, at the end of the day, you're the one doing it, right? You're a human being with a head on your shoulders. You're supposed to have some kind of judgment. And if you can't exercise judgment, then what are you doing with a rank above, I don't know, police officer, police constable, or whatever?
I wish I can feel sorry for these officers on the basis that, yes, they are human beings. And mentally, emotionally, psychologically, it could be difficult. I truly wish I could express my sympathy towards them. But they should know that this is Trinidad and Tobago, and that they would not have been immune to anything once it was revealed to the public. I'm very pleased that this was revealed to the public. And this is the thing. Earlier, Chris gave herself an excellent rating. I still can't understand that. But these officers should know this is TNT. At the end of the day, if anything happens, it's their heads. And you know what? They were probably thinking, listen, if I don't do this, it's my life or my job. Again, if the Social Services and Welfare Association could speak about all the trauma and whatnot, they could also highlight how they are being given illegal instructions, how they are being directed this way. But no, in Trinidad, honestly, we are just fools sometimes to our own intelligence.
You want to know who's playing it smart? The minister and the commissioner, because an oral report leaves no paper trail to account.
You've got the Commissioner of Police to appear before GSC, playing it smart. Let's see how really smart she is. And how she
Well,
stands up to that GSC.
Exactly.
To the Minister of National Security, well, he's a smart man.
He's been
A smart man, not in the sense of compliments, by the way.
he's been showing some smarts in some ways, not all, but in some ways.
You're too kind, Sean.
It's crafty.
The irony is you're the one being kind.
It's smart in a way that I don't appreciate. Let's put it that way.
And the irony is we like to continue talking point, but we have to take a break here. We'll be right back after this.